Why it's important that we study history. 10 reasons why history is important and why everyone should make it a point to study it in depth. For others, history just seemed like a jumble of names and dates attached to events long over with and people long dead. What was the point of learning it at all? They didn't know then that history was one of the most important subjects they'd ever study. History is in fact very useful, actually indispensable, but the products of historical study are less tangible, sometimes less immediate, than those that stem from some other disciplines. Historians do not perform heart transplants, improve highway design, or arrest criminals. In a society that quite correctly expects education to serve useful purposes, the functions of history can seem more difficult to define than those of engineering or medicine. History should be studied because it is essential to individuals and to society, and because it harbors beauty. Let us take a closer look at why history is important and explore why everyone should make it a point to study it in depth. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below, and hit also the notification bell so that you won't miss any of my new videos. Number 1. History helps us develop a better understanding of the world, helps us understand people and society. You can't build a framework on which to base your life without understanding how things work in the world. History paints us a detailed picture of how society, technology, and government worked way back when so that we can better understand how it works now. History offers a storehouse of information about how people and societies behave. How can we evaluate war if the nation is at peace, unless we use historical materials? How can we understand genius, the influence of technological innovation, or the role that beliefs play in shaping family life, if we don't use what we know about experiences in the past? This, fundamentally, is why we cannot stay away from history. It offers the only extensive evidential base for the contemplation and analysis of how societies function, and people need to have some sense of how societies function simply to run their own lives. Number 2. History helps us understand ourselves. It provides identity. To understand who you are, you need to develop a sense of self. A large part of that is learning where you fit into the story of your country or the global community in the grand scheme of things. History tells you the story of how your nation, city, or community came to be everything that it is. It tells you where your ancestors came from and tells you who they were. Most importantly of all, it gives you the ability to appreciate the legacies you may have inherited from them. Thus, history helps provide identity, and this is unquestionably one of the reasons all modern nations encourage its teaching in some form. Number 3. History helps us learn to understand other people. History isn't just an essential introduction to your own country, ethnic heritage, and ancestry. It's also a valuable tool when it comes to understanding those who are different from us. Global, national, and regional history books help us understand how other cultures affect our own. History encourages us to develop a greater appreciation for multicultural influences within our own communities as well. Number 4. History contributes to moral understanding. History also provides a terrain for moral contemplation. Studying the stories of individuals and situations in the past allows a student of history to test his or her own moral sense, to hone it against some of the real complexities individuals have faced in difficult settings. People who have weathered adversity not just in some work of fiction, but in real, historical circumstances can provide inspiration. History teaching by example is one phrase that describes this use of a study of the past, a study not only of certifiable heroes, the great men and women of history who successfully worked through moral dilemmas, but also of more ordinary people who provide lessons in courage, diligence, or constructive protest. Number 5. History teaches a working understanding of change. It goes without saying that change can be a difficult concept to understand. Each of us has a different experience with the rest of the world, an experience shaped by societal norms, cultural differences, personal experiences, and more. We know when we as individuals crave change and why. History helps us better understand how, when, and why change occurs, or should be sought, on a larger scale. Number 6. History gives us the tools we need to be decent citizens. Good citizens are always informed citizens, and no one can consider himself to be an informed citizen without a working knowledge of history. This is the case whether we're talking about our role in our community or in regards to our nation on the whole. History helps us become better voters and more effective members of any type of society. It helps put us in a position to better inform others as well. Number 7. History makes us better decision makers. Those that do not learn history are doomed to repeat it. History gives us the opportunity to learn from past mistakes. It helps us understand the many reasons why people may behave the way they do. As a result, it helps us become more compassionate as people and more impartial as decision makers. In-depth knowledge and understanding of history shaped great leaders of the world. Number 8. History helps us develop a new level of appreciation for just about everything. History is more than just the living record of nations, leaders, and wars. It's also the story of us. It's packed with tales of how someone stood up for what they believed in, or died for love, or worked hard to make their dreams come true. Knowing the sacrifices done by our forefathers to attain the independence of our nation makes us appreciate more the democracy our country is now enjoying. Number 9. Study of history develops many skills. What does a well-trained student of history, school to work on past materials and on case studies in social change, learn how to do? The list is manageable, but it contains several overlapping categories: the ability to assess evidence, the ability to assess conflicting interpretations, and experience in assessing past examples of change. Thus, history contributes to our capacity to use evidence, assess interpretations, and analyze change and continuities. Number 10. Understanding the past helps us to cope with the present and plan for the future. No one can ever quite deal with the present as the historian deals with the past. We lack the perspective for this feat. But we can move in this direction by applying historical habits of mind, and we will function as better citizens in the process. History also helps us determine how to approach the future, as it allows us to learn from our past mistakes and triumphs. So, why study history? The answer is because we virtually must, to gain access to the laboratory of human experience. When we study it reasonably well, and so acquire some usable habits of mind, as well as some basic data about the forces that affect our own lives, we emerge with relevant skills and an enhanced capacity for informed citizenship, critical thinking, and simple awareness. Please leave a comment below. If you find this video informative and helpful, please give it a like and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will not miss any of our new videos. Thanks for watching.